Well, to end this day on a lighter note, that's a joke, by the way, a Texas Democrat doubles down on wishing Barack Obama had cancer. You may, what? So first of all, it is a Texas Democrat, but it appears they're a Democratic socialist running on a Democratic ticket. Because I don't think any sane, rational person would wish cancer on somebody, especially a former president. That's insane. Listen, man, I understand the idea is, can we get people to feel some empathy, to understand the pain of others? But this is just beyond reproach. Let's read the story, and then I'll pull up the guy's Twitter account. So the Daily Caller reports, Democratic Texas congressional candidate Justin Leccia said he hopes former President Barack Obama gets cancer in a series of tweets posted Sunday night. Leccia attempted to justify his ill wishes towards the 44th president by calling Obama a war criminal and citing his administration's record on deportations and immigration enforcement. He said, y'all are, well, I don't want to get to this y'all are defending part yet. I'll read his tweets, but I will add first, Barack Obama. It is reported that he may have committed 2,500 plus extrajudicial assassinations. I am not a big fan of the man over this. I think he's charismatic. I think he can speak well and be a celebrity and create an image of what a president should be. I'll respect that. But there's a lot I would respect domestically. His willingness to compromise and try and, just move things forward. Even, he wanted universal health care and he gave up on it. But Barack Obama, when it comes to foreign policy, war criminal, I'm going to avoid that because it's not for me to decide, but did he definitely, kill innocent people? Oh, you betcha. What is that? We accidentally blew up a bunch of military-aged men? Call them enemy combatants. That's what they did. Fly a drone. You want to hear a joke? What's the difference between a terror headquarters and a children's hospital? I don't know. I just fly the drone. Yeah, probably going to get me in trouble. YouTube probably going to get me in trouble for that joke. But that's a joke. And a lot of people might get offended by that. But let me tell you something. As somebody who is extremely anti-war and very critical of Obama's foreign policy and Bush's foreign policy, I laugh at the joke. You know why? It speaks truth to power. It exemplifies the horrific nature of what they do when they wait. First of all, to speak to the the individuals in the country who are worried about economic issues, they'd be wasting our money, dropping bombs on innocent people. But to speak to the good nature of everyone in this country, be it a secular atheist who cares about children, to the staunch conservative Christian who believes thou shalt not kill, dropping bombs on civilians who are like 20-year-old dudes who are carrying buckets of water and then saying military-age male equals enemy combatant is nightmarish. But let's get back to the cancer thing. So he tweeted, people are criticizing me for wishing cancer on Obama. I say that having lost a parent to brain cancer after 12 years of fighting. Still, not a good excuse, dude. He says, and getting to see just how terrible our healthcare system is. And I still think he deserves it or worse. What? Why? If you've seen how horrific it is, why would you wish that on anybody? Dude, I wouldn't wish a paper cut on my worst enemy. And I really do mean that. Man, I'm too much of a hippie, lefty, liberal type, aren't I? Now listen, I'm very anti-death penalty, as most of you know. And I still believe that compassion, you know what, man? Let me tell you about the cycle of hate. People look at this guy and they'll say, I hate him. And so they'll do something bad to him. And then he'll say, I hate you back. And the cycle continues. The only way to improve things is to break the cycle of hate. I do not believe in retribution. I believe in rehabilitation. Retribution feels good, man. It feels so good. Righteous justice. Those people who caused you pain, suffering, schadenfreude, feels amazing, doesn't it? Makes you feel great. And it makes your problems worse. And it makes people angry. And it makes their brother. The story goes like this. Somebody slights you, so you slight them back. Or it's like somebody dies, and then their brother says it was your fault, so then they kill the other person. And then that person's dad says it's your fault, and then kills the brother. And then the cousin says, you killed my cousin, and then goes and kills the dad. It just never ends. At a certain point, you have to say, you know what? You did me wrong, but I forgive you. There's a great video you should watch, and it brings a tear to my eye. There's like a serial killer guy, or it's like a murderer, and he's sitting in trial, and he murdered a young woman, and the father says, I forgive you. And the murderer starts crying, and it's crazy because this murderer dude, He's like stone-faced. Nothing they say phases him. They scream at him. They yell, "You murderer, you killed these people." And he's just like, "I don't care." And then this bumbly old man walks up and says, "I forgive you." And the murderer breaks down and starts crying and shaking. I wish for all of the evil and injustice in the world, we could break that cycle and prevent it from happening again. Because a lot of what we see overseas, like with like a lot of this jihadi stuff we've seen affecting the U.S. and U.S. Resources, it's what the CIA called blowback. Our operations slighted somebody, they slighted us back. The cycle continues, it never ends. You know, the sad reality is we have competing interests, and we may not be able to ever stop that cycle because it's not always about hating somebody. It's not like I hurt you on purpose, it could have been an accident, and then they blame you for it. Take a look at like the Avengers movie, right? Age of Ultron. The Maximoff twins were negatively impacted by a Stark weapon, so they want revenge against Tony Stark. Tony Stark was a way different person when they tried getting revenge. So it wasn't like Tony was like, "I want to harm these people," but he did make the weapons. So there's sometimes indirect and inadvertent actions that result in people who want retribution. This is the problem with retribution. In fact, I know it's fiction, okay, but in Age of Ultron, if the Maximoff twins didn't push for retribution, it could have prevented the tragedy which affected their home country with the destruction of their city. Again, I know it's fiction. I'm just making a point. Justin for Congress goes on to say, "Y'all are defending a war criminal who was in authority during the deportation of over 3 million immigrants, continued the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, allowed the continued poisoning of citizens in places like Flint, and also recently bought an $11 million home in Martha's Vineyard, and demonstrated privilege so great that he gives 0 Fs about y'all. Obama is part of the club that is going to let y'all burn in climate change. So at me all you want, I said nothing directly threatening. No, but you're kind of just a part of the problem." Listen, here's what it comes down to. Is what he's saying about Obama true? Well, it's an opinion for the most part. But Obama did a bunch of really bad stuff. And then he did buy an $11 million mansion. So, yeah. You know what, man? I kind of agree with him on a lot of these points. Obama, not someone I'm going to look up to for a lot of reasons. Like, he recently did something stupid. He said women would make better leaders. Oh, cut the pandering, bro. Cut the pandering. But I tell you this. What would happen if Justin for Congress was president? What do you think he would do? What do you think he would do to Obama? When someone expresses a desire to cause suffering and pain to others, it worries me about what they would do when they wield power. There's something I've cited, several times, mostly in the past. I'll bring it back up. It's this Magic the Gathering card. If you're familiar with the game, Magic the Gathering, it's a card game. Swords to plowshares. Melting down the swords in a war into plowshares so that you could farm and make peace and help people instead of hurting people. Now, I'm not a stupid person. I recognize that sometimes people got crazy beliefs. They want to hurt you and you can't do nothing about it. I understand that sometimes police have no choice but to, take someone out. A lot of people don't seem to understand that. They think cops are all evil villains who just want to cause harm. No, but there's some that exist. There are some bad people in the police. It's a fact. Okay, but the reality is a lot of cops enter dangerous situations. They take action, and it destroys them for a long time. And I can respect that. I can respect the individuals while calling out the bad behavior of others. Recognize they're different people. But I tell you this: the people who do enjoy suffering of others, or would ever entertain that someone should suffer, it's the last person you'd want to be in power. The people we want in power are the people who don't want to be in power. And it's tough because the people who don't want to be in power won't be. They're not going to try. They're not going to run for office. They're not going to get elected. And the people who want power will get it because they strive for it. And that to me is scary. That's dangerous. I've had people say to me stuff like, "When are you going to run for, office, Tim," or whatever. Like Cenk Uygur's doing it now. Will I? No, I will never going to happen. No way. Look, man, I'm a milquetoast fence sitter for a reason. I don't think I'm smart enough to dictate what should or shouldn't be in terms of law and policy. And I don't think there's a solution to end, the frustrations everybody faces. It may come to a point you have two people and they're arguing is a land dispute. "I've been growing crops on this land for 50 years. And the other guy says, "I've been grazing my cattle for 50 years. Now they're trying to draw a line. What do? You're gonna slight somebody. There's no easy way to do it, right? I mean, you could argue shared space, but then eventually people will fight over resources when it comes to that point. So I look at what's going on in Congress, and boy, I can tell you, if there's a lot of positions I would absolutely take. There's a lot of things I'd just be like, I don't know. You know, because like, what happens if you come out and say, someone says to you, "Hey, this crop is really bad for the local bee population," or something, and you're like, "Whoa, we got to do something about that." And then the next day, the guy comes in and says, "If you shut down this crop, you will destroy the economy of my entire town, and you will put 5,000 people out of work." Well, what are you supposed to do, man? It's like, it's not easy, right? So these climate activists say, shut it down, ban fossil fuels. Okay, well, that will destroy the lives of millions of people. Like, it's too difficult, you know? But I'll tell you this. My intention would always be to do good, to minimize harm. But it's almost impossible to figure out how exactly you do that. But I will leave you with one thing. Beware people like this. People who would wish for the suffering of others. Because when someone like this gets power, you better damn well believe it, they will wield that power to hurt other people. This guy and this statement should disbar him from being in office as far as I'm concerned. Expressing a desire for suffering in others, do not ever give someone like that power. I'll leave it there. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m.